Hello, everyone. Dean on the Street, host of the Dean Blechman Show, here in New York City in the Big Apple. Very exciting day. I'm here in the executive offices of my featured guest, Jeffrey Meshel. Jeffrey's a author. He is founder and chairman of the Strategic Forum, and we're here to talk about his company, DivorceForce. But welcome to Dean on the Street, the Dean Blechman Show. Thank you for making time, Jeffrey.
Truly my pleasure.
I'll tell you one thing, you're one of the few people that I get to be with that got better color than me. You've been around.
You told me to
You've
prepare.
been on vacation. Hey, listen, this is really exciting what's going on with you. Let's get right to it. Jeff, the rumor is that you went through a very, very bad divorce, and that was the driving genesis of DivorceForce. Can you expand on it?
That may be understating it. I mean, this might resonate. My ex-wife literally went through 16 attorneys. Is currently on her 16th attorney. And to say it was bad, it was in the hierarchy of horrible things that happen in life, it's right under death. It was god-awful experience. This is an example of turning lemons into lemonade. DivorceForce is something that's very powerful, and it comes from my roots. The books that I've written about, it's about networking, putting people together. And DivorceForce is the first online social community to empower people affected by divorce. And it's scaling as we speak.
Wow, amazing. So Jeff, you're saying that the experience of divorce is just short of experiencing a death.
When you go into this process, envision jumping into a pool of quicksand. You have no control of your life. You have no idea what's going to happen. You're dictated to by a process and a system that you don't have any options, and you're relying on a matrimonial attorney that's steering you through this. It's financially devastating, it's emotionally devastating, and it preoccupies your life to the extent that you really don't think about anything else. And there are so many terrible stories, things that happen to people. You just really have no sensitivity how extreme it can get.
Wow. Why don't you just elaborate for the show's audience today, what exactly is DivorceForce?
It's a place that people can go that you're not alone. It's a place where you can meet other people and learn about their experiences. It's a place where we have currently 75 influencers. We're a little over a year old, so it's still in the genesis stages, where we have proprietary content written on all different types of subject matter. So by example, if you're concerned about your children, there is a forum where people just talk about their children. And we have experts that write articles and share their knowledge and insights about things you need to know. And if you're following things in the forums about children, we're pushing this content to you to empower your knowledge. The real power of DivorceForce goes back to my roots. I've written 2 books, I'm writing a 3rd now. The first one was called One Phone Call Away, the second one, The Opportunity Magnet. And it's all about connecting people and putting people together, and I kind of just do things people don't do. DivorceForce, we're the only ones doing what we're doing with this first social community, but the power of it can be demonstrated with the following example. Imagine having the wherewithal. Imagine 5 women that live in Nassau County, that are at-home moms, that have children the same age, that are in front of the same judge, can find each other. We have searchable fields that enable people to find them, people that are demographically relevant to them. I can't tell you how empowering that would have been. My first experience in front of a judge was eye-opening. No idea what was going to happen, scared to death. I'm sitting there, I'm sort of glued to my attorney's shoulder, and this judge was crazy, screaming and yelling and carrying on. I looked, I said, Mark, what's the story with this judge? And without any emotion, looked at me and said, well, it depends on the meds that she takes, it dictates her behavior in court.
Wow, that must have been...
It was an oh my God moment.
Oh my God.
He said it, no big deal. I sat there and said, this is the person adjudicating my life. This is the person that determines the welfare of my children. This is the person that determines the allocation of my assets. It depends on the meds that she takes. What can I do? What are my resources? Who can I talk to? I can't change judges. I think I went home that night. I think I killed 2 bottles of wine, passed out, and then had to get the next day and function. There was nothing I can do. As a DivorceForce member, I could go and find other members in front of the same judge.
Wow.
And that is incredibly powerful because I can learn the judge's tendencies, I can learn and get opinions, I could confer with 3, 4, 5 people, and someone's going to in front of the judge tomorrow. I want to find what happened and find out how the judge ruled in the case. I'm about to go file a motion. I now have 4 people I'm talking to. Someone chimes and says, Jeff, I filed that motion 10 months ago. Judge wouldn't entertain it, dismissed it right away. So wait, Jeff, what's your email? I'll send you the decision. I get the decision. I'm like, oh my goodness. I sent it to my attorney. I said, Mark, we shouldn't file this motion. That person just saved me $25,000.
Wow, that's powerful, Jeffrey. Very powerful. So I can imagine what that whole court system, that epidemic, that must be just a groundbreaking tsunami every day in the court system of divorce. Thankfully, I've never experienced it. I mean, Sharon joined us here today. I know she made it a point to share with you that she's, if I ever left her or she chose to leave me, she's in better shape. So
tell me how you guys are the greatest husband in the world. She's the greatest wife.
We've been married for
you're lucky
35 years and known each other for 4 years prior to that.
Oh.
But that court system must have been just a horrific experience for you.
But even worse than the court system, the very basis, the nature of what happens, it's broken. Well, the new book's called The System Never Worked. It doesn't work. And the reason is that matrimonial law is not a profession. It's a business. Listen to that. It's not a profession, it's a business. So the very nature of that business is to generate fees.
Wow.
So if the nature of the business is to generate fees, you create consternation or you create things that papers are going back and forth. I was just with my attorney, where he was sharing a story about a case, a very extreme battle case, where one of his client hired another firm because he didn't want to get involved in motion practice. That firm called him and asked him for transcripts to the trial that they're voluminous, and he said to us, he doesn't need that. This is a 3-4 page, response to what they're doing. Instead, it becomes 50 pages and it becomes a $30,000 fee, but he doesn't need it.
Wow.
But it's about driving fees.
So listen, could we get into? Can you elaborate even more? Could you share everyone out there that wants to become a member of DivorceForce?
So
what if you could just share more? What are exactly the benefits?
there are many of them, and if you're in this process and you're going through it, you're alone. I mean, you have your friends, but to find people that are relevant to you is very empowering. If there's certain things that bother you or you're dealing with, every time you make a call to attorney, it costs money. You can go on DivorceForce. There are all these different forums. You have the ability to ask questions. We have all these different experts. You can learn a lot of things like becoming a member. The elements of DivorceForce are more expansive because we ask our members several questions like, why are you joining? Friendship, dating, knowledge. You'll be amazed to know how many people are looking for friendship. Many divorces commence and the friends go to the hills and you lose your friends. When some friends are on one side, some friends are on the other, and in many cases people feel very alone. This is a place you're not alone. This is a place where we put out our hand to help and empower you. And even divorce dating. I mean, the commonality of divorce dating is very important because if you have children as an example, you have parenting issues. To find somebody that has kids as well, there's commonality. So there's a lot of elements to what we're doing.
Wow, just amazing. Can you share something that people are unaware of concerning divorce, whether it has to do with social media in general, or just share something that people are unaware of?
So I'll just start with one word: everything.
Everything. Wow.
But let's talk about one thing. And one of the things that people take for granted, don't even think about, the impact on divorces with social media and the internet. Social media and internet, because of the technology wherewithals today, are very impactful on divorces. In fact, many matrimonial attorneys, before taking on a case, someone's coming to their office for an interview, they're already Googling them. They're seeing who they are, what's out there about them. They're already assessing that individual, whether they want to take it as a client, but seeing what that person's issues are, what they're doing. The internet is its own private detective. You can find out things about people that are, can be very dangerous and very revealing, some of which I'll share in a moment. But social media, the statistics vary based upon who you ask. The statistic I heard is that many divorces, close to 37%, start because something's posted on Facebook.
Wow.
And you take for granted. If you're having a relationship with someone, you put a picture up, and your ex-wife sees it. That becomes a problem. That only exacerbates matter. I mean, just to give you an example, not really relevant to this, but I just broke up with my girlfriend, and one of the issues that happened was I was in Florida, and I was with a bunch of girls out to dinner. They were friends, she knew that, but one of the girls posted the picture on Facebook. Her mother saw the picture. Her mother got upset and went to her and said something to her. And through our relationship, she must have brought that up a few times. I could say, but you knew the people. But it didn't matter. So if you're getting divorced, it's 10,000 times worse. I was just with my attorney, and we were talking to me about a case that he's handling, and he told me that he's got an issue because his client is not getting the support payments. This is a post-divorce issue. And the gentleman's claiming that he doesn't have financial wherewithal and is fighting to try to get some sort of reduction. With that being said, he found pictures on Facebook of him and his girlfriend taking out the private jet to the Hamptons. It's like smoking gun. So the sensitivity to what social media can do and or the internet is incredibly impactful in divorce, and you don't think about it, you don't realize it. In many cases, you're going through the process and you do things or you post things and you put yourself in real peril.
So Jeffrey, you're an expert. Okay, I've got to ask you for my audience. Whether you want to prevent getting a divorce or you're in the middle of a divorce, once again, social media technology is extremely powerful. Advice on both sides of the street: preventing divorce, or if you're in the middle of a divorce, what do you have? What's your solution or advice to people?
Well, preventing a divorce means that you got to work on your relationship, and I'm not going to take the seat of a psychiatrist as to the issues that exist in relationships, but the statistics are pretty bad. I would argue, they say 50% of marriages wind up in divorce. Okay, the other 50%, half of them are thinking about it, and it's just like the unhappiness or lack of communication, whatever the reasons are. Maybe by the very nature of the beast, someone being monogamous and being with one person, it's a difficult thing. So that's challenging. But I'm not an expert on that subject matter, but communication is very important. If you're going to get divorced, you want to stay out of the system. You want to stay out of the process. Anger exacerbates things, and unfortunately, many matrimonial attorneys will throw gasoline on a fire. They will exacerbate and cause more anger, and that costs a lot of money. So understanding that at the end of the day, it does end. And you can spend a ton of money on legal fees, or you can try to be practical and de-emotional and try to work something out so that you don't burn the money. And you also want to stay out of the process because it's incredibly debilitating. And I know 4 people that have killed themselves in divorce. I have a dear friend that jumped off the George Washington Bridge. It's that bad. And as I said before, in the hierarchy of horrible things that happen in life, it's one notch below death.
That's amazing, Jeffrey, that you categorize this. Just one step, Jeffrey Meshel says, right below death. Incredible. I mean,
Sadly.
anything else you want to elaborate on the audience? Better said, how many marriages do end up in divorce, and what the size of the market is?
Well, it's huge. It's gigantic because if half the population is getting divorced and the other half is thinking about it, people that are thinking about it, or even those that are in it, can become members incognito. They don't have to disclose who they are, and they can learn and meet other people that are, again, demographically relevant. This is about helping people. This is about evoking change. This is about making a difference. And I would welcome, first, anyone that's out there that's thinking about or in it. DivorceForce.com is the website. You certainly could download the app. I'm also available. People can call me. I get calls pretty much every day from people seeking help. And in my telephone number is 917-364-1732. Text me and I'll be glad to answer questions and help you if you need it.
Okay, in closing, what are the long-term goals of DivorceForce?
We become the social community. We become the source of knowledge and information. We become a place that provides safety, does events for people, enables them to go on with their life. Our information becomes incredibly important, and evoke change, because we really, really need change. And the whole topic, I would just ask my attorney, what would you do to change the system? I'm writing a chapter in a book about that.
Good topic.
And there are a lot of things that can be done, but it takes a lot. But it starts with having a community.
Jeffrey, how about at least for the audience, at least one thing you'd like to see changed? Number one. I know there's many, but there has to be really one that you'd like to see changed.
The chapter I'm working on now in the book is very meaningful to me because my son was almost killed by my ex-wife, not physically but emotionally, and today he's an incredible superstar.
You're telling me that your son was almost killed by your emotionally killed by your ex-wife?
Yes, and
Okay.
today he's a superstar, and he wound up leaving him, coming in with me, and turned around. It's all about the kids.
Wow.
It's all about the children. And I'm writing a chapter about that because, unfortunately, in many cases, particularly in hostile divorces, the children become pawns. They become used, and they're emotionally, potentially just shattered or affected, or throughout their whole life they feel the scars of this experience. The system, the way it is today, a matrimonial judge is not an expert on children, and the methodology of utilizing the court system and the lawyers, or even the guardians, these court-appointed guardians, they're not trained in understanding about the children's needs. So the way it works right now in terms of custody and the issues associated with the children is so flawed. There should be a completely different methodology.
Wow. Amazing. Listen, unless there's something else that you want to share, I just want to thank you very much for your valuable time today.
Truly my pleasure. Thank you for allowing me to have the pleasure of sharing what we're all about and what we're doing.
Once again, my guest today has been Jeffrey Meshel, chairman, founder of DivorceForce. Whether you're contemplating divorce, whether you're in the middle of divorce, whether you are divorced, this is a organization and a guy you want to contact and become part of. I want to thank you very much for being with Dean on the Street and the Dean Blechman Show today.
It was an honor. Thank you.
And this will not be the last time that you see Jeffrey Meshel. Jeff and I had the opportunity, we were introduced by mutual friends, acquaintances, approximately 18 years ago. We were just recently introduced by a mutual friend, acquaintance. We've resurfaced. That's the wonderful thing about Dean on the Street and my show, that I get to experience what I'm doing today, and that is to be with incredible, fascinating people, brilliant stories, great experiences, great things to add value to people's lives. And this is not going to be the last time that you hear from Jeffrey Meshel. So I just want to say thank you again, appreciate your time, and I want to thank all our listeners here, Dean on the Street, host of the Dean Blechman Show, and from all of us at the Dean Blechman Show, everybody have a nice day. Bye-bye now.